Hello everyone, this is Muhammad Wasim Khan and the course is Project Planning and Management. Today's lecture is all about the project scheduling. Project scheduling is one of the most important part and component of the project management. Why we do project scheduling? Because we want to identify the precedence relationships between the activities within a project. We actually sequence different activities within a project. Sequencing the activities mean that we determine that which activity should be performed first, which activity should be performed second, and so on. So basically, we are actually giving a particular order to different activities. We determine the activity times and costs. So these times and costs should be estimated times and cost that we have discussed in the previous lectures. We assign different material and worker requirements and some other resources as well. And then we determine the critical activities or the critical path. Critical path is a path on which different critical activities lies. We will talk about the critical activities and critical path in the coming slides. Now let's talk about the purposes of project scheduling. One of the purpose is to show the relationship of each activity to others and to the whole project, to identify the precedence relationship among different activities, to encourage the setting of realistic time and cost estimates for each activity, as we have discussed in a previous slide, and to help make better use of people, money, and material resources by identifying critical bottlenecks in the project. Let's talk about different scheduling techniques. Different scheduling techniques ensures that all activities are planned for, their order of performance is accounted for, the activity time estimates are recorded, and overall project time is developed. These are some of the project management techniques that you can see at the screen. The first one is the Gantt chart. I hope you are familiar with this particular technique. The second one is CPM, critical path method. And the third one is PERT, and we call it program evaluation and review technique. Let's talk about the Gantt chart. Gantt chart is actually a chart which shows the progress of different activities within a particular project. It shows the activities against the time. For example, in this figure, you can see the horizontal axis or the columns that represent different months like January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, and September. And these rows represents design, prototype, test, revise, and production. So if we talk about the design, we can say that the design can be start or the design should be start around the middle of the January, and it should end at the mid of June. So actually this graph shows us the progress of design, and it tells us that the design need to be completed in 6 months. Similar is the case for prototype, test, revise, and production steps. Let's talk about the PERT and CPM techniques, and then we will discuss project control reports as well. PERT and CPM techniques are the network techniques and developed in 1950s. CPM or critical path method was developed by DuPont for chemical plants in 1957 and PERT by Booz, Allen, and Hamilton with the US Navy for Polaris missile 1958. These techniques consider precedence relationships and interdependencies among different activities. Each of them use a different estimate of activity times, and we will discuss it later. There are basically 6 steps in PERT and CPM network. The first one is to define the project and prepare the work breakdown structure. So at the start of PERT and CPM, you have to define the project and then prepare the work breakdown structure for that particular project. The second step is to develop relationships among the activities, like decide which activity must proceed and which activity must follow others. The third step is to draw the network connecting all of the activities. We will talk about it. The fourth one is to assign time and cost estimates to each activity. The fifth one is to compute the longest time path through the network, and we call that longest time path a critical path. And we will discuss it as well. And the last step in PERT and CPM is use the network to help in planning, scheduling, monitoring, and controlling the project. So, yeah, step 5 is very important, and that is to compute the longest time path through the network. And we call it the critical path. There are some certain questions that PERT and CPM can answer. The first one is, when will the entire project be completed? So yes, CPM and PERT are the techniques we have through which we can determine the time, the starting and the ending time of a project, of the entire project. The second is, what are the critical activities or tasks in a project? So when we identify the critical path, we will obviously know the critical activities or tasks within the project. The third one is, which are the non-critical activities? So the activities that do not lie on critical path are actually the non-critical activities. And what is the probability of the project that will be completed by a specific date? So yes, we through PERT and CPM we can understand, or we can easily know the probability of the project, the completion of the project. The next question is that the PERT and CPM can answer: is the project on schedule, behind the schedule, or ahead of the schedule? Is this money spent equal to, less than, or greater than the budget assigned? Are there enough resources available to finish the project on time? And if the project must be finished in a shorter time, what is the way to accomplish this at least cost? In the next lecture, in the next part of the lecture, we will talk about the activity on nodes and activity on arrow network as well. Thank you.